Hello there, guys, and welcome to Morrowind. Or, well, Satanine to be more specific. Please ignore the big pink markers as well, it's a debug thing. So let's take a little jaunt over to Balmora while I explain what I've been working on for the past few months. So yeah, this is an actual real mod that I've been putting together for quite a while now. I'll get into the technical details of it a little bit later, but the gist of this is Morrowind running in the Elden Ring engine. This project is not finished yet, but I'd wager it's just about halfway done at this point, though that can be kind of difficult to gauge with a project of this scale. I've actually had this mod in the background for quite a while now. I was originally targeting the Dark Souls 1 engine, but found that it could not handle how dense the Morrowind mainland was. We then ported this project to Dark Souls 3, where it just barely fit within the world loading restrictions. Because of that, I can actually show you a side-by-side of what Morrowind looks like in both the Elden Ring and Dark Souls 3 engine. Moving the project to Elden Ring was actually a very recent move as well. The community tools for modding Elden Ring have advanced a lot in the past few years, and well, Elden Ring is just a better game than Dark Souls 3. And here we are in the beautiful city of Balmora. For the rest of this video, I'm going to break this down into like a Q&A style section, as I think that would be the best way to talk about this project. So here we go.
Why?
Morrowind is one of my favorite games of all time, but god damn is it dated. So my goal here is to try and combine the world and lore of Morrowind with the combat of a Souls game. Basically just taking the best parts of both and slapping them together into a common fruit and scrib jelly sandwich. It also just seemed like an interesting project to work on. When I started fiddling with this idea, I wasn't sure if it was even feasible to complete. But the further I got into it, the more possible it started to look. Until eventually I just decided, why not? Let's just go for it. I think it's possible.
Does this video have a real USB dual sponsor?
Well, by golly, it sure does. Today's video is sponsored by boot.dev. And what a fitting sponsor as well, considering this project is just a mountain of bad coding practices. And hey, would you look at that? Boot.dev even teaches Python, which makes up a whopping 3% of this project. And the best part about that is I don't even know Python. I'm just raw dogging some code needed to generate dialogue state machines. So let's fix that. With boot.dev, picking up a new programming language is both fun and easy. Their lessons keep you engaged and motivated by constantly having you solve actual coding problems that you would run into in the real world. Like this absolutely deranged function I wrote. Someone should fix that. Not me though, I live and die by shitty bubble sorts. Boot.dev even has an AI wizard bear that can help you on your lessons if you get stuck. And with hundreds of lessons across dozens of subjects, that is sure to come in handy at some point. And not to mention that Boot.dev has a huge Discord community, so if you want to talk to a real person about something, that's a great place to do it. And last but not least, if you aren't satisfied with Boot.dev, they have a 30-day no questions asked refund policy. So you've got nothing to lose and everything to learn. So if you've ever wanted to learn how to code, why not give it a shot and join Boot.dev today, using the promo code InfernoPlus at checkout to get 25% off your first year. Ad over.
How much is done?
World generation is basically finished. The best way to demonstrate this is to climb to the top of Red Mountain and just look out over the entirety of Morrowind. It's all there. But that really only shows that it's finished on a more macro scale. I'd like to point out some of the smaller details as well. Each region of the map actually has distinct weather and lighting data. For example, the Ashlands are gray and overcast, while the Bitter Coast is a more colorful, swampy area that tends to get a bit more rain. And of course, the Red Mountain area is just covered in blight storms. I've also modernized the water for Morrowind, which was insanely complicated, but the results are wonderful. And this extends beyond just water. Since this is a From Software game, I was obligated to convert Morrowind's regular old swamps into poison swamps. I like to call this Poisonous Swamp Manifest Destiny. The lava was also regenerated, and it looks a lot nicer. Another thing that is mostly finished is lighting and world FX. Currently the lighting looks a little bit blown out as I am just converting the data 1-to-1, which is technically correct, but no. It absolutely needs some processing done on it that I just haven't looked into yet. World emitters are pretty much in the same boat as they are effectively half finished. Each individual type of world emitter has to be remapped into an Elden Ring FXR. Most of these are really straightforward though. Candles are remapped to candles, fire is remapped to fire, blue candle is remapped to candle that I tinted blue. There are a couple I haven't messed with yet though, like steam vents. The systems I've built are absolutely able to handle it, I just haven't spent the time organizing all that data yet. Interiors are also mostly finished as they use nearly identical code to the overworld generation. There is a goofy issue with load doors right now that I thought I'd share. It seems that when Morrowind teleports a player through a load door, they use the player's hip bone as their root, while Elden Ring grabs players by their feet instead. This means that when you go through a load door, you're about 3 feet higher than you should be and you fall down a bit. This isn't a problem unless there's a low ceiling and then you just clip straight into it and get stuck. Beautiful. Obviously this is a bug I can fix with like one line of code, but I found it while working on the video, so I haven't patched it yet, and I thought I'd share because it's entertaining. Another thing that is partially finished is dialogue generation. When I say partially finished, I basically mean that all the dialogue is loaded, but none of the scripting data is. So every possible topic of conversation is currently present for each individual NPC. Funnily enough, this means that if you ask an NPC about Dagoth Ur or Red Mountain, they're just like, oh yeah, you killed that guy, right? So I guess I've already beaten the game. World first. Easy. I've also implemented the systems needed to have voice acting as well, but for now, all dialogue lines just play a sound effect of a page turning, as voice acting is one of the last things I'll be doing for this mod. I was just curious if it was technically possible, and it looks like it should be. You may have also noticed that every single NPC so far is just default girl woman, and in addition to that, every non-human NPC is replaced with a goat. I did this because I wanted to make sure the game engine could handle the bulk of Morrowind's characters, but without actually having to go and map out every single enemy spawn. This did prove to have some issues, which I will get into later, but for the most part it does work. And that's basically where the project is right now. To put it in as few words as possible, the world is there, but it's completely devoid of actual gameplay.
Aren't you afraid of getting sued? Again?
Ah yes, well, this part of the video goes out directly to the Bethesda lawyers that are watching right now. You can just go ahead and stop writing that very threatening email, because this project does not violate any copyright whatsoever. How do I explain this? Have you ever heard of a mod called A Tale of Two Wastelands? It was a mod for Fallout New Vegas that converts the Fallout 3 game files into an add-on for New Vegas, so you could play both Fallout games at the same time. In order to install it though, you had to buy both games and install them both first. My mod works basically the same way. My software reads the Morrowind game files, does a bunch of math on them, and then outputs Elden Ring game files. The project itself does not include any of Morrowind's data in it. It requires the user to have that data in order to create the mod for them. And it is also open source, so if you want to go check, then be my guest.
What about From Software? Are you worried about them?
No, because they're based as fuck. Take note, Bethesda. You could learn something.
So when is it coming out?
That actually depends on you, my dear viewer. I like working on this project, and I would like to keep working on it. But I also need to know if this is what people want me to be spending my time on. YouTube is effectively my full-time job, and if I'm going to spend 6 months building a mod, I need to know that's what my viewers actually want me to do. I imagine you can all probably infer from what I've shown that this is not simple stuff. This is the result of thousands of hours of research and code work fueled by Adderall and caffeine. So yeah, if you want to support this and make this actually happen, do all those YouTube social media things. Hit the button, share the video, check out my Patreon, etc., etc. Aside from that though, the only things really holding this project back are that I need a couple of other modders to help me out with some specific things.
What do you need help with?
There are currently 3 big things that are outside my skill set for modding that I need assistance with. The first issue is something I call the C0 limit. In Elden Ring, every character has an ID that ranges from C0 to C9999. This includes the player character, which is C0, and of course, C0 is special. While most characters are just a single model, C0 is like Voltron. It's made up of multiple different parts, being armor and weapons and face data. So while you can spawn in 1,000 goats and have no issues, Elden Ring has some arbitrary limits on the number of C0 characters you can have loaded at the same time. The limit actually goes back as far as Dark Souls 1, as I ran into this same issue when working on the Remastist mod.
No.
Regardless, this limit has to be fixed for this mod to work. Morrowind has over 2,000 humanoid characters, and in some areas like Vivek City and Balmora, it exceeds the hidden C0 limit, and some of them just fail to load in. This particular problem requires reverse engineering work, which I am absolutely useless at, so it's something I will need help with. I've talked with a couple different people about this problem, and from what I understand about it, it's very likely fixable. It just requires a very specific skill set to actually make that happen. The second issue is another reverse engineering thing, nav mesh generation. My friend Nord has been poking at this for a while, and he's made some progress on it, but we've yet to get it to actually work. Nav meshes are basically just simple 3D meshes that AI use to navigate around terrain. Every map in Elden Ring basically consists of 3 layers. A pretty visual mesh for you to look at, a simplified collision mesh to do physics on, and then an even simpler nav mesh for AI to do pathfinding on. The issue is we don't have the tools to build nav meshes, and without nav meshes, AI just doesn't work right. I am confident that it's possible to fix this problem as well, but it's beyond my skill set to really help with it. And the third issue is the complete opposite of the previous two. I really need some 3D artists. One of the things that I can't directly convert from Morrowind to Elden Ring is the armor and clothing. I mean, I could probably do it, but it would just look absolutely horrendous. This also applies to enemies as well. So what I'd really like is to have a couple of 3D artists that make modern renditions of the Morrowind clothing and armor to use in this mod. I kind of low-key love the designs of Morrowind's robes, and it would just be amazing to see them done justice in the Elden Ring engine. And for enemies, what I'd like to do is make reskins of Elden Ring's enemies and bosses to sort of Morrowind-defy them. For example, it would be fucking amazing to reskin Horelu as Dagoth-Ur. And all you'd have to do is add a mask to his head, change the color of his skin, and recolor his pants. And then biblically accurate Dagoth-Ur could canonically suplex you into the ground. But yeah, that is pretty much it. There is, of course, plenty of potential for unforeseen issues to appear, but that goes without saying, as every mod is at risk of that happening. I've done a fair bit of research on what remaining work is left, and from what I can tell, everything I want to do is possible. It really just comes down to the number of hours it's going to take to build it all out. And if any of those 3 things I listed are things that you think you could help with and want to, there will be a Discord link in the description for like a collaboration space of some kind. So check it out.
So what is left for you to do?
Assuming the problems I listed above get solved, the first thing is going to be writing a sort of interpreter for Morrowind's Papyrus script to be able to cross-compile it into Elden Ring's EVVD script. That is going to be very difficult, but I am confident that I can do it. In tandem with that, I will also have to implement variable checks into the dialogue system, which is going to be equally difficult. After that, I will have to begin parsing and placing static items and container loot so that key items can be obtained and turned in for quests. At which point, the main quest should be mostly playable. Once we reach that point, I will probably remap characters, and honestly, I'll probably hand place most of the enemies in the game world. I could use the Morrowind spawn points, but for things to play well, I will probably want to go through and plonk down dudes and bosses myself one at a time. I may also want to adjust some areas to make boss fights fit better. Morrowind interiors can be kind of cramped, so if I want to have a boss fight at the end of a dungeon or something, I may have to expand a few rooms to make it play well. Additionally, at the moment, I think the world scale is maybe a little too small. The entire project actually has a singular scaling factor, so I can change it pretty easily. I just haven't decided what scale to use yet. But yeah, once I finish with all of that, the mod would be playable in full. This is where I'd want to go through and flesh out mechanics more. I'd want to do things like add alchemy ingredients so you can craft potions, have shops in different cities with unique items to sell, and of course I'd also want to add some spells to the game like water walking and levitate, because it's really not Morrowind unless you have levitate. And that pretty much describes the whole roadmap for this project. It's a lot to do, but it's well within the realm of possibility.
Oh no, that's not really a question, is it?
So yeah, it's about time to wrap things up. I'm curious what you guys are going to think of this project, and if you want to hear me talk about it in more detail, I'll have a longer video on my second channel where I go into like technical stuff. Oh, and I can't forget, a big thanks to Dropoff, 12th Avenger, Hork, TKGB, VSwart, The Fifth Mat, Ivy, and of course, Nord. Because sometimes you need someone to remind you to put a .dds at the end of a file name. And yeah, that's all. I hope you all have a wonderful day.